Garden files lost. Now activating John Harju protocol. Garden files found. Initiating lost files.
Captain, we have a proximity alert with the planet Geekery. We are approaching collision.
Quicks, get somebody on the comms, enter in the security code.
257. Security code accepted.
Hey guys, welcome to Comm Talk, the podcast extension of Geek Devotions, a show and ministry from a couple of devoted geeks devoted to letting people know that they're loved. My name is Dallas, and with me is
Celeste. So, if you want to find us, our podcast is on iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Podcast Garden, and we are also to be found on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Yes.
And YouTube. We have a YouTube channel.
Right.
I forget we have to say that on the podcast.
Yeah, we do. But all those are found simply by looking for Geek Devotions. So today, guys, our show, if you hear some rumbling in the background, it's because it is a dark and stormy night. And so what better night than any other than to talk about Gotham?
Bum, bum, bum.
So we are caught up on Gotham right now, and we're super excited about it. And so this episode is actually going to have some spoilers for the last episode that aired on May 8th, 2017. It's called Heroes Rise, the Primal Riddle. Dun, dun, dun.
Y'all have no idea how hard it was for us to catch up on. Like, we're only caught up on one show at the moment, and we're one episode behind on the other show we were caught up on. We have a busy life.
Yeah. So with today's episode, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what's happening in the show right now, and specifically how it parallels and diverts from the comic books, because they've taken some creative liberty. I'm enjoying it, to say the least, but we're going to get into that. To be fair, we're going to start off with just kind of the IMDb, I guess, description of...
It's their synopsis. It's like when you flip a book over and you read the back of the book.
Right.
To know if you want to read the book, or you open the front cover and read the little thing that's there that kind of is like, hey, this is what this is.
Right. So the IMDb description of this says this: the most unhinged villains of Gotham come together as the Riddler continues his conquest. Gordon's search for answers keeps leading him back to the Court of Owls. Alfred notices a change in Bruce, while Bruce, too, confides in Selina. Dun, dun, dun. And it's dead. All right, so there's going to be a lot of spoilers for this. So if you haven't watched the show, check it out. What were we watching on Hulu?
Yeah, we watched it on Hulu. When we're behind.
Yeah.
That's pretty much where we watch everything. We forget commercials exist because of Hulu.
Right. So we're going to just kind of break down a couple of interesting things that take place in this. First off, I think it's interesting, the temple shaman who has Bruce. This is interesting. He seems to have Bruce, and he's training him for some reason. And what's your thoughts on this, dear?
Well, he kind of looks like he's going to be, like, I think he's Raj, but he's kind of white to be Raj. Like, I don't know if that's a thing. I know that in the Christian Bale Batman movies, it's like Raj is a British man.
Right.
But I don't know if that's actually canon.
Right. It's changed a little bit here and there. He definitely has some Arabic-looking background, but he's also definitely Caucasian sometimes. I don't know for sure. I mean, if you're listening to this, do us a favor and tweet us or send us a message on Facebook. Let us know your thoughts, and let us know where he comes from, what his background is.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. He does seem kind of like it's the Raj character.
Like, I'm wondering if he is one of the upper-ups in the league.
Right.
Like, he's not quite Raj enough because he's not mean enough.
Mm-hmm. And what I found interesting is that and I forgot exactly how he said it, but when Bruce first meets him, he seems to suggest that he's not part of the Court of Owls, but rather he's using them to supply his purpose, like they're a means to his personal end, which is very Ra's al Ghul.
Right. Well, and so jumping show ships for a minute, is Raj like in the comics? Is it like in Arrow where just the person who's in charge is called Raj?
No. In the comics, Raj is literally the immortal Ra's al Ghul, because he has the Lazarus pit and he dips himself in the Lazarus pit when he's about to die, and he comes back a little crazy for a while, maybe kills a manservant or two, and then kind of recomposes himself. And there's been different versions of that, like how it happens and stuff like that. Jason Todd, who was like the second Robin, was dipped in, and he went crazy also.
Oh, yeah.
There was an Elseworlds version that went down. I think it was Elseworlds. That was just this really random version. And he'd actually begin to kind of morph and like transform into almost more, like literally look like the demon of the demon's head. So it was really interesting. But it's the same man throughout. Okay. It's the way it's supposed to be. That's one thing I didn't like about Arrow, and I think if they go that route in Gotham, they're sealing the fate of there's no crossover between Gotham and the WB. Well, no, because WB opened up with the parallel universes.
Yeah.
So that changes things.
And they've already stated that this one is not in the same world as everything else. Mm-hmm. Like Supergirl's Earth 1 or something, and the Arrow Flash verse is
Flaro.
Like what?
The Flaro, that's what they're calling it. Flaroverse.
Oh. Alrighty then.
Yeah.
Well, okay, no, I refuse. Flash Arrowverse. I just can't.
Right.
They're like Earth 66.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, who's to say that this isn't like Earth 300?
Right, absolutely.
So coming off of that, talking about another topic we wanted to bring up about this one episode, so much in one episode.
So much. Is
the fact that Penguin's kind of gone on a hunt to unite all the misfits.
Yeah.
Like, he pulls up Firefly and Mr. Freeze and Ivy, and like, I don't know. I'm kind of glad because I really like Firefly. Mm-hmm. Like, I like her character. She's a little nuts, but I like her character. I like who she is. So again, I really haven't read the Batman comics. The most into that world I've gotten is I read some of the reboot of Batgirl. And I've read a couple. I read Gotham Academy. Gotham Academy is adorable. I love Gotham Academy. So a lot of these people, their initial like personalities and backstories and things, I'm just not that familiar with.
Right.
But I do like her a lot.
Right. I don't know. I think Firefly, and again, I could be wrong, I think she was actually introduced. The character of it was in the Batman the Animated Series, which was a fantastic thing, by the way.
So she wasn't comic at all?
I don't think so. I mean, I think she was one of those ones that was pulled in.
Okay, so she's like Harley.
Yeah, kind of like Harley Quinn was. So I think this is interesting. It's like he's creating his own version of like the Legion of Doom, but it's like these are like the rogues gallery that are my personal favorites of Batman.
Now, what is Rogues Gallery?
Rogues Gallery, like, it's his villain list. Like, these are like the rogues. They're like, these are the guys who, like, if you had to go, yeah, these are Batman's villains, right here.
Gotcha.
And I feel like these are like quintessential outside of the Joker. Like, these are like the next, like, Joker's kind of his own plane. But if you don't have the Joker around,
Joker is his own plane.
Yeah, you have this, and I think it's interesting. I mean, Penguin in the comic books, he is kind of the gatherer. He's like, like the almost legit businessman. Like, I appreciate the Penguin because his type of villainy is kind of the old school mobster mindset. And I think they're doing a great job in Gotham of kind of him building that up.
Yes.
And him kind of being the man behind lots of moving things in Gotham.
I definitely have found it interesting, his progression. Mm-hmm. Because, like, when the show first started, I was like, there's no way that this guy's going to be Penguin.
Right.
Penguin's like the mob boss. And he's also the one that has penguins following him as he walks. But
This isn't that movie.
but it's like, I think it's been they've really done a lot of character development with him.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but I think it's interesting pulling together again, Mr. Freeze. I'm actually enjoying this Mr. Freeze. I mean, anything's better than the movie we shall not speak of. Anything is better than that movie's version of Mr. Freeze.
But he'll be back.
She said that. She made that joke.
I did. I know what we're talking about.
Right. And I also appreciate that they have Poison. Interesting that they have Poison Ivy and Freeze also, because they were both in that movie.
Really?
Yes, I believe so.
Don't think we've watched that one because it hurts your soul so badly.
Okay, so we had to do a quick cut because my brain was not functioning at the moment. I need more coffee in my life. But I was blending a couple versions. I was right originally when I said it was Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze. It was the 97 Batman movie.
Batman versus Robin.
No, Batman and Robin.
Yes.
Batman and Robin. Batman versus Robin was a whole other thing. Oh. Batman and Robin, which was the one that... It was the nail in the coffin for the Batman franchise. Because it was so bad. So bad. As bad as Mr. Freeze's jokes. They were so bad.
And then the Christian Bale team came and tapped the nail out?
Yes, pretty much. Okay. So I think it's interesting that they're kind of in that together. But, and I think Ivy's interesting. I'm curious what they're going to do with it. They seem to make her less of a meta-human who can control the plants and talk to the plants, and more of a just, like, really good, like, just, I don't know what you call them, but the people who are just really good at knowing what plants do what.
Horticulturist.
Yeah, that's it.
I think that they're gonna go both ways with it.
Yeah.
Like, she's very knowledgeable, but you have to keep in mind, because of what her story is in this show, she's like 14.
Right.
So the fact that she knows all of this...
Well, she was a reader. I mean, she was a real book nerd in the first couple seasons.
But she also told Penguin that the plants talk to her. Mm-hmm. So I think that they are going the meta route with her. Mm-hmm. It's just that...
Subtle.
Very subtle.
Right.
To the point of you could almost miss it.
Right. I don't know, maybe. So, but I think it's all interesting, that whole little thing is putting together. And then, obviously, the thing that happened towards the end of it, it was Riddler joining the Court of Owls. Which
I'm not entirely sure if he's joined or not.
I think he is. I think his curiosity will say he's like, I am going to be part of the Court of Owls. Like, because it's the great mystery. Like, he is so big about secrets, because secrets are nothing more than a mystery. They're the greatest secret of Gotham.
Yeah.
And especially if you look back at, like, their lore in the comics.
Yeah.
I mean, their lore in the comics is, like, super, super creepy.
Because they're not creepy enough already.
Right? They're so creepy. Like, they have in the comic books, they have this childhood rhyme that, like, parents would sing to their kids, like a lullaby, but it was, like, really I'm going to, like most lullabies, I'm going to terrify you, child, so you don't move. Like, London Bridge is falling down is a terrifying thing to really think about. But the one that they have in the comic books for the Court of Owls is just straight creepy. It reads, beware the Court of Owls that watches all the time, ruling Gotham from the shadow perch, behind granite and lime. They watch you at your wreath. Is that right? No, your hearth. They watch you at your hearth. They watch you in your bed. Speak not a whisper word of them, or they'll send a talon for your head. These guys are creepy!
Well, I mean, it's a secret organization that's ruling Gotham. Like, how do you even go, hey, we're going to start a secret organization and we're going to control things for Gotham because that's what we do.
Right. Well, I mean, a lot of the groundwork for this in the modern comics was laid back years ago with what they call the Gates of Gotham, which is where there were 4 main routes into Gotham. and each one has a different name. Wayne, Cobblepot, and I forgot what the other two are, but they're prominent names of the city. And so you saw this ruling class, but even then there was an air of mystery about it. And you had the New 52 happen, and where they really dove into it, which, to be honest, the Batman run of the New 52 was the best thing to happen in the New 52. I mean, it was the best thing.
I don't know. I kind of appreciated what they did with Wonder Woman.
Well, I can see that. But what they did with Batman, I think it's one of the few things that I really appreciated was the storyline of the Court of Owls.
Yeah.
And the fact they're pulling that into Gotham, I find it very interesting, although it still seems very different. Like, you never see them take their mask off. Like when you read it, like, it's almost like they don't even know each other sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
which would make sense in this type of an organization.
Right.
Because if somebody gets caught doing something.
But that's the thing is they don't, because the Talons kill them. And I'm curious what they're doing with the Talon, if they're going to do like in the comics. Because in comics, the Talons, they're like these guardians that are woken up like in sequence. And like they're like asleep for 100 years and they wake up and they're never, like you could stab the dude and he doesn't die.
Ooh.
They're like daisies. They just pop back up. so
I just had an image of the actor who's playing the Talon, like laying down and all of a sudden popping up and being like,
right?
There was some motioning going on there for those of you at home.
So I find that very interesting about what's happening with the Court of Owls, and I'm very intrigued to see where they go with this, especially now that they brought in Jim Gordon as a member of the Court of Owls.
Which was that canon?
No,
because holy crap!
No, that's not canon at all. That a lot of this again. They're taking elements. I think like the hardcore comic book fanboys, they're going to be angry because it's not accurate. But if you look at it as a Elseworlds mindset, which I love Elseworlds, I so badly want the big omnibus of Elseworlds that DC did, especially something revolving around Batman. And again, this is what makes Gotham so great: is that it's more about Gordon and the GCPD than necessarily Bruce. And even still, with what's happening, it's interesting what you're seeing with Bruce take place.
Well, and it's interesting the fact that they've given Bruce and Gordon a previous relationship because they very much have a relationship in the comics.
Yes.
Just from what I've read, I can see that.
They have like a real close friendship in the comics and mutual respect. So it's interesting. Now, the thing that we were like, what the crap? Tell our listeners what happened towards the end of the episode that we were both like, what?
Okay, so major spoilers. Not that everything else in the world hasn't been, or in this episode hasn't been, but Bruce Point 2. What are we calling him?
Bruce 2.
Bruce 2, the clone. He has been replaced so that Bruce 1 can go and be with this Raj character. Alfred's starting to get suspicious.
We're calling him Raj. We don't know if he is Raj.
I said Raj character.
Okay.
It's we don't know if he's Raj, and they've listened to the beginning. They know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And he goes to Selena, and because there's something coming. The court is bringing judgment on the city. And there's something coming.
Right.
Like
a weapon is what they're calling it.
A weapon. It's big, it's bad, it's nasty. We're assuming. It could be small and little and powerful. But he goes to Selena because Bruce, too, has attached emotion to her. And so he tells her what's going on without telling her everything. And, like, she says she's going to tell Alfred.
Right.
And he freaks out, and he's like, you can't. And she goes, how are you going to stop me?
Right.
And so he shoves her out a window.
Right.
And, like, that part of the episode ends with her on the ground, and she is dead. Now, I don't think that they're actually going to kill her because it's Catwoman. But I like Selena.
I know. It's really interesting. And I think it's cool what they did, though. Like, the fact that they had Bruce 2 respawn that way is interesting to me.
Okay.
Because it's because earlier in the episode he says that the court gave him purpose, which is something he had nothing.
Yeah.
Like in his mindset, he had no purpose. So even the little bit of purpose given to him meant the world to him. And even though he had this attachment to Selena, someone who I think he genuinely cares about.
Yeah, I think he does.
The fact that she was threatening his purpose, I mean, that speaks volumes, I think, in the writers that they saw that. Because that's a real life. Like when somebody goes, this is my purpose, and somebody threatens your purpose, like something you like, this is what you're holding on to.
Yeah.
We do crazy things.
Yeah, we do.
And we fight for it. And now, unfortunately, his fighting for it led to the fall of Selena, literally.
Literally the fall.
But I think this is great writing. Like
Yeah.
the fact that the writer sat there and went,
absolutely.
this is how people think. I don't think see them going, this is how people think. But the writing in this, whether it was on accident or on purpose, was phenomenal because that really is like you can really see this guy, the Bruce 2. Of course, he's dying. He's a clone. It's all he has left is this purpose that was given to him by these people. Now, I think he's going to find new purpose later on, obviously.
Yeah.
I would hope so. But,
unless he just dies.
Yeah, but I think it's fantastic writing.
Oh, yeah.
That took
Absolutely.
place. Now, the fall and the whole thing, because at the end of the episode, you see these cats come out. And
kitties are sad because Catwoman has died.
But what's cool about it is it very much it overlaps with the 1992 Batman Returns movie, which was it was done by Tim Burton. It's one of the ones that I love greatly. The first two in that whole sequence of Batman movies are my favorites of the whole thing.
Right.
But in that, Selena, who's played by Michelle Pfeiffer, who, if you line up Michelle Pfeiffer, who is the Selena in that movie, and then the girl playing her in Gotham.
Because she's stinking adorable.
She is, but they look like it could be her like her daughter, her granddaughter or something.
Do we know for sure that that's not her?
Yeah, they're not related.
Okay.
For everything I can see, they're not related. But the fact that it looks so similar, and then like Michelle Pfeiffer and her character in the movie, she gets pushed out the window by an antagonist, and she falls to her death. And these cats come out and they bite her and junk. But like she somehow gains their powers, and she like the whole. And by powers, I mean like the whole 9 lives of a cat. Like she gets that, and so throughout the movie, she dies several times in the movie. Gets back, and to the very ending of it all. But I wonder if that's what they're doing with this Selena in Gotham. They're trying to lay out the whole she's died and now she's becoming the Catwoman character. Really starting to get the Catwoman character. Like I wonder if what happened on Indian Hill, like if like they're going to incorporate somehow like maybe like she was always part of Indian Hill somehow. Like I'm not really sure, but I'm really curious to see what they do with that.
And it's possible that even if she wasn't part of Indian Hill, that her mother was. Because, I mean, her mother wasn't exactly the most stable woman.
True story.
So, but I don't know. I just know I don't want Selena to leave the show. I like her.
No, they won't leave. She won't. It's just too big of a character for the show. So, then that's the crazy thing about Gotham that I'm really enjoying is all these characters are major. Like, Bruce is a major character. Gordon's a major character. Bullock's a major character. Selena's a major character. These are major essential characters to the entire Batman lore. You can't just kill them off and send them away.
Yeah.
Other ones like Leslie Tompkins, technically, yeah, she's there, but she's actually a side character in the comics.
Okay.
And
I like her just because she's an aura.
Right. Now, I don't like what they're doing with Barbara, and that's weird. And I'm not really sure how that plays out later. So, but all in all, I'm enjoying the season. I thought the last episode was really interesting, and I'm really, really looking forward to the next episode of Gotham that's going to be happening. So the next episode of Gotham is called Heroes Rise, Light the Wick. And the IMDb reads, Gordon tracks down the weapon the Court of Owls intend to use for the destruction of Gotham. Catherine and Temple Shaman, because that's all we're calling him, tell Bruce about their next move. Ivy offers Selena help.
Which means Selena's alive.
She's alive, but how is Ivy offering her help? And what is the weapon? I mean, we know it's in a crate, it's in a box. It didn't look like it was a very big box. It was probably a person because it came from Indian Hill. So
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see what's going to happen.
Well, let me ask you this. Are there any major villains that they have not touched on yet?
Well, I mean, there's a plethora of villains. I mean, they haven't touched...
Major ones that would be like, oh, it's that one.
I don't know. I really don't. Part of me, with the Court of Owls, one of the most interesting things it brought out was the potential of there's one person who may or may not have been Bruce's brother. Not clone.
But actual brother.
His actual brother. And so there's a question as to, and he became a real big deal in the front half of the New 52 Batman. It actually introduced the Court of Owls. So I'm very curious as to what this guy really is. And like, if the weapon is that. Like, I think that would be kind of cool for him to bring that in. So I just don't know.
Right.
So, guys, tell us what you guys think. Let us know. Tweet us or send us messages on Facebook or however, and let us know your thoughts on this episode that we just watched of Gotham. Let us know what you think is happening in Gotham. And also, let us know what you guys think of our show, Comm Talk.
Yeah, let us know.
It's been, again, we want your feedback. This is a show where we want to interact with you guys, want to hear from you, and talk back and forth. And we're going to have some other people come on the show. We got a guy that we're going to be talking with here possibly in the next couple of weeks. Really interesting conversation about the music of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
So I think that's about it. Guys, do us a favor. While we have your attention, check out our friends at Nerd in the Verse. Check out our friends over at Comic Talk 616, and
also check out our friends at Geeks Under Grace. As y'all know, we've written a couple Bible studies with them for them. They're doing some pretty cool stuff. Like later this month, they are doing a Legend of Zelda week. Like once a day, every week, there will be an article about Legends of Zelda. All the Legends of Zeldas. So many Zeldas. So they're also doing lots of other stuff. They've got podcast writers. They've got Christian living articles. They've just gotten a lot of reviews. Gotten a couple music people up. I think the music team is going to be doing some reviews on some different stuff. I'm not sure how that's going to look, but I'm intrigued and I'm greatly anticipating this. So
true story. So, well, guys, that's about it from us here at Comm Talk. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, I'm Dallas, and this is
Celeste.
And you can find us at Geek Devotions on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and make sure you check out our show on YouTube, where we have episodes coming out every Friday and Tuesday. And this month is May Movie Madness with our friends over at the Ministry Training Center of the Healing Place. So, guys, don't forget, above all, we love you, we care about you, and we really do appreciate you taking the time to listen to our podcast and being part of our wonderful Devoted Geek community.
Okay, guys, stay devoted.
Peace and love.